Ito naman, inilabas ho ng WR numero ang kanilang pinakahuling Philippine Public Opinion Monitor na nagpapakita ng sentimiento ng publiko sa 2028 national elections, impeachment ni VP Sara Duterte at iba pang issue. Para pag-usapan ng resulta ng survey, makakausap natin ang WR numero founder at chairman at President and CEO ng WR Advisory Group na si Dr. Robin Garcia. Good morning, Dr. Garcia. Welcome back sa Usaping Legal. Attorney Danny Galang po. Kayo ay napapakinggan sa Radyo Pilipinas at napapanood din sa PTV.
Good morning, Attorney. I'm happy to be back. Maraming salamat again for inviting us.
Thank you for your time, sir. Ito ho, impeachment ho ni VP Sara. Ang sinasabi ho ng inyong survey ay 53% ho ang nag-reject ng kanyang impeachment, pero 46% ho dito ang walang alam tungkol doon sa ebidensya. Ano ho yung, can you discuss it, sir?
So, yan, actually tama, no? You mentioned na medyo mataas yung mga hindi nag-agree dyan sa impeachment ni Vice President Sara. So there are perhaps two variables na kailangan nating tingnan. Yung unang variable is mataas talaga yung support for the Dutertes, no? So if you look at the results, meron kaming nilabas na tinatawag naming factional partisanship, kung saan minimeasure namin yung support for factions, no? So may tatlong factions: Duterte, Marcos faction, tsaka liberal progressives or kakamping. Ang pinakamataas na faction is yung nasa Duterte faction, which represent around 1/3 of all of the respondents. So that's the highest number of support for any of the two other factions. Pumapangalawa yung Marcos faction at 22% and liberal progressives na nasa 17%. Moreover, if you look at yung 33%, yung 1/3 na yun na sumusuporta sa Duterte, 60+% are already hard supporters. Hindi na mag-iiba yung utak nila in the next 24 months or until the election day in 2020. So what? So ibig sabihin yan, any issue that potentially opposes the Duterte camp, may it be the president, the former president, or the current vice president, will not be received very well by the faction. No, maraming mag-o-oppose talaga dyan. Pero at the same time, marami din nagsusupport dyan sa impeachment. No? So kailangan natin tingnan din na siguro hindi lang yung pro-Duterte faction yung umu-oppose dyan, but also baka merong ibang usapin na gustong tugunan ng gobyerno. No? So for instance, baka maraming economic issues, and nakita natin dito sa aming report that really economic anxiety is the one that they want the government to solve, no, through many pieces of policy. For instance, anti-inflation, decreasing the prices of basic goods, more jobs, and things like that. These are gut issues that consistently and persistently have always figured very prominently in any of the surveys, no, not just ours. So palagay ko, inisip ng mga tao, baka not necessarily against the impeachment per se, but perhaps this is not the right time to pursue that, right? But you're right, no? At the same time, hindi lahat ng tao, maraming tao hindi nakakaintindi ng evidence. So tinanong namin, naiintindihan nyo ba yung mga accusations against Vice President Sara Duterte? And you're right to point out na napakadaming hindi nakakaintindi ng mga evidence against her. So kung titingnan ninyo, no, kahit maraming hindi nakakaintindi ng evidence, hindi nila gustong tingnan yung evidence, marami pa rin nag-o-oppose dyan. So kaya nga, babalik tayo doon sa undercurrent ng ating data, na baka these are people who really support, intensely support the Duterte family, and therefore would not anymore change their minds even in light of evidence and even in light of other pieces of information and facts, right? And that's typical even among the other factions na nakikita nating may mga hard supporters din. So for Marcos, malaki din yung hard supporters ni President Marcos, pero hindi ganun kalaki compared with the hard supporters of the Dutertes. And then may mga nakikita din tayong hard supporters para dun sa mga liberal progressives or kakampings.
Alright, sir. So, you were saying hard supporters for the Duterte family, no? So, around 60% nga ako na hindi talaga magbabago hanggang 2028. So, ito ho ba yung dahilan bakit nangunguna pa rin si VP Sara despite all the serious allegations against her, again, continuing ang impeachment sa kanya? She got 35.9%. So, yun ho ba yung main na dahilan because of the strong support talaga ng mga Duterte supporters?
I think so, yes. So I think that's the number one variable that we need to be looking at when explaining kung bakit nasa top pa rin ito si Vice President Sara Duterte in the pre-election poll, no? So, so nagko-correlate nga kasi 33% or one-third ng lahat ng Pilipino are pro-Duterte, nakakuha siya ng 35%. So may na-attract siya konti pa na mga undecideds and baka nakakuha pa siya from other opponents, no? So we have a list of 12 names in our pre-election poll. And so because we wanted to be as comprehensive as possible as early as now. So kung mag-change yung landscape in the next few months or even next year, na-capture na namin as early as now ng March 2026 or Q1 2026. But despite the long list, Vice President Sara is still leading, no? She's still the person to beat, but at the same time, I don't think that any electoral certainty is set in stone. It means that things may still change. And many things may still change, and actually it's quite early. And we don't see particularly itong tinatawag naming post-announcement surge that is typically associated with anyone who announces their candidacy. Actually, kaya kung titingnan mo rin, napakalaki ng undecideds dyan, 20% for president, 30% for vice president. Usually, the reason why they're undecided is because they don't see the names of people, but also because they don't know if their bet is actually going to run. So, pag nag-a-announce ang mga kandidato, nagkakaroon ng rallying effect, kumbaga, na nagsusolidify, nag-firm up yung support para sa kanila, nawawala yung level of uncertainty. Kaso, hindi natin masyadong nakita yan kay Vice President Sara Duterte even after nag-announce siya. So nandyan pa rin siya sa 30+ percentage points na level that we see from last year. No? So last year, nasa 33% siya. Nung November, nung nirelease namin ng November, fieldwork namin November, we released early December. And ngayon, nag-fieldwork kami ulit ng March, a few months after, nandun pa rin siya sa nasa 33 to 36% na range. So there's not a lot of parang changes, although there is a slight change, but I wouldn't say that it is a dramatic and intense change that will basically tell us that the election is already set in stone in 2028.
Ayun nga ho, sir, parang hindi din masyadong gumalaw yung figures niya despite the announcement of her presidential bid. Ito naman, sir, Senator Raffy Tulfo got placed second, no, 18.5%. So, sa tingin niyo ho ba, is he the person to beat VP Sara Duterte?
Well, not necessarily kasi if you look at it really, statistical tie sila ni former Vice President Leni Robredo, now Mayor Leni Robredo, no? So if you look at the margin of error plus minus 3%, nandun siya kung makuha ni Vice President Leni Robredo yung upper limit ng kanyang statistic. Ibig sabihin, magtatay sila ni Raffy Tulfo. And they've always been like that, head-to-head last year in second place. But I think ito yung babalikan natin na usapin yung actually sa amin, tawag namin Uni-Pink, no, na coalition. And potentially that could be a winning combination between a standard bearer from the Marcos administration and a standard bearer from the liberal progressives or kakamping faction. And because nga, and I think everyone recognizes as early as now that Sara Duterte is leading and you need to add up your numbers, no? And you know, we're coming from a post 2016 situation where 10 years ago that the former president Rodrigo Duterte really mounted an incredible and quite compelling campaign, and until now they have sustained their narrative, and I think that is what the opponents for 2028 will have to contend with. And that includes the liberal progressives who might mount another presidential candidacy, and ito the Marcos administration. Kaso, if you look at the list ng mga potential standard bearers sa Marcos administration, hindi maganda yung kanilang performance dito sa survey na ito. no? So kung may tumutunog na may mga names na, for instance, si Vince Dizon, Secretary Vince Dizon, who of course have denied any ambitions to for higher office, but at the same time, people are pushing him, they may be considering him to run. You also see DILG Secretary John Vic Rimulya, and then General Manager of the MMDA, Nick Torre. We're all part of this list, but I think they have a lot of room to grow, ganun na lang, no? In order to be potentially a competitive candidate in 2028. But yes, so ngayon, it seems like it would benefit the Marcos faction and even the liberal progressive faction to court Rafi Tulfo or any of the Tulfos for that matter, to become the standard bearer for 2028. And, we still have a few months before the filing of candidacy in October. So, they have to negotiate as early as now kasi hindi natin alam kung matutuloy yan and maraming kailangan pag-usapan. Actually, maybe last point lang dyan sa Unipink Coalition. It seems simple actually to many people. But actually, it's an issue of egos. It's an issue of power because ang tanong dyan, kung mag-coalition sila, sino ang papangalawa? Sino ang magiging presidential candidate? Papayag ba ang mga kakampings na VP lang ang i-field nila? At papayag ba ang Marcos administration na VP lang ang ma-field nila? We don't know, right? And I think that, it will really look bad if any of these factions agree to such an inferior position, right? And I'm not stoking any issues here. What I'm just saying is hindi ganun kadali na magkakampi kasi sila naman pwede presidential candidate. So sino dyan? Right? Sino ang senior partner, kumbaga sa law firm, sino ang junior partner mo? And nahihirapan na nga tayo dito sa mga inside the factions, yung kakamping, nag-aaway si Trillanes pati si Lenny. And then inside Marcos, din marami ring mga issues. So hindi pa pulido yung conversations within the factions. Ipagsasama mo pa sila, hindi mas mahirap yun, right? So this is a conversation that they have to have right now. And they cannot wait, in fact, for December. Sabi ng mga kakampings, December pa sila magde-decide. Titingnan yung survey. By that time, ang dami na nangyari. So, I don't know. I think both factions will just have to, get their acts together. And they cannot afford to wait because they've lost multiple elections since 2016. This is what? The fourth election that they will lose, right? So it really speaks of their competence in campaigning and winning the national vote. And so if they have not learned that as early as now, then I don't know what will happen in 2028.
Alright, sir. You mentioned din si former Vice President and now Mayor Leni Robredo, no, is she's still a formidable candidate. Nakita ho natin may mga dating kumandidato na bilang presidente na kumandidato uli pero hindi pa rin sila nanalo. So, magiging ganito ho ba? May chance ho ba na maibaho niya itong ganitong history na ito?
Interesting yung si Vice President Leni Robredo. I think yung appeal ng campaign niya is that in such a short period of time in 2022, kasi late na siya nag-announce, alam naman natin yan, late na siya nag-desisyon, October na. Nung huli-hulihan na siya nag-declare. And of course, meron siyang national mandate kasi Vice President siya noon. So kahit papano meron siyang nakuha ang mga botante at she was able to gain some level of support. And nakita natin nag-snowball yung support niya in just a short time nitong tumakbo siyang presidente. But ang big caveat ko dyan is, of course, we have some members of the faction na kumakampi sa kanila, masaya na napakalaki ng nakuhang boto. But it's still comparatively low compared to what Marcos got and what Duterte got. So, kumbaga, why are you so happy that you've garnered a certain level of votes, pero you still lost, and you didn't even come close, right? So, and I this is not coming from a parang partisan tone, but sinasabi ko lang ito from a strategic tone that there's still so much to do in order to beat the Dutertes in 2016. From coming off from 2016, again, they mounted a very competent campaign, right? So kaya all of the lessons from the past 2, 3 electoral cycles. I think they have to really convene, they have to list it all down, and then create a rigorous and systematic strategy by looking at the data. And finally, siguro sabihin ko lang, Danny, no, yung data na hindi nila titingnan. Everyone thought that ang nagpanalo sa kakampings at saka liberal progressives ay yung mga kabataan or yung millennials or itong mga Gen Zs. But that's an incorrect view that our data since last year we've seen. Because 40%, almost 40% of all of the young people are actually pro Duterte, right? So that's a data point that I think we cannot ignore, no? And that anyone creating a serious strategy for the liberal progressives cannot ignore. And that it's wishful thinking if you deny that data point and just accuse the firm like such as ours as partisan. Kasi minsan na-accuse kami pro-Duterte. Hindi, actually, we're just observers and students of Philippine politics and society. We're publishing this to inform you. But if you get hurt by this data, then that's not our problem. Then maybe you will lose again, right? So, maybe this is just the message regarding the campaign and potential campaign of Vice President Leni Robredo. Kasi ang dami pang kailangan gawin. But sabi nga natin, babalikan natin, yung sinabi ko una, no, Danny, is tama, respectable yung nagawa nila. Meron siyang national mandate, nanalo siya as Vice President legitimately noong 2016. At the time na natalo pa niya si Bongbong Marcos, no? And then, in such a short period of time, snowball yung support. So that's an admirable achievement, but not enough, no, to beat and to mount a successful campaign, because you only choose one president, and the goal is to be a successful presidential candidate so that you can sit as president. And there still has a lot of things to get done, no, in order for them to succeed. Yun lang, medyo mahaba na yung monologue ko, Attorney Danny.
Alright, panghuli na lamang ho, sir, no? Let's just go to the vice presidency. Bongo is number 1, pero wala akong significant numbers, no? Also, Grace po is there, Robin Padilla. Bakit ganun ho? Wala pa akong nakikita yung mga Pilipino ho na pwedeng maging vice president, nakatambal ho ni VP Sara?
Actually, yung VP race is a different story altogether. Tama ka, no? Parang statistical tie kasi yung top 3. So si Bongo at 12%, so hindi malayo. Hindi malayo compared to sa numbers ni VP Sara na nasa 30+. Hindi pa siya runaway winner. Tapos tied siya with Senator Grace Poe, who have since 2016 been I think has successfully maintained her base at least 10%. Nakikita namin, tinatrack namin over the last few years na nandyan siya sa 10% plus. No, lagi siyang mataas sa VP. And even nung 2022, mataas din siya sa VP. And then Robin Padilla, of course, who topped the senatorial race, no, recently, nung 2022. So yan, tatlong kandidato na yan, tied yan sa first place, statistically tied sa first place. And nakikita natin na walang runaway winner. Iba yung kwento sa VP race talaga. Tapos not only that, and mababa pa sila lang yung double digits, pero hindi rin ganun kataas yung kanilang numbers. 12% lang yung pinakamataas na si Bongo. But in fairness, this is a long list. This is a list of 16 names. And then you also have 26.8% who are still undecided. Perhaps because this is a long list nga, 16 names. Pero at the same time, siguro kung makita natin in the next few months, baka mag-solidify na itong vice presidential race. But right now, I think it's an open field. It is more fluid than the presidency. And yeah, it is interesting because there's a lot of potential contenders. Even among yung factions nga, kung magkaroon ng unity. And even within kay Vice President Sara Duterte, sinong pipiliin niya as Vice President? Ito yung mga gusto nating makita. Meron na daw siya napili, but we don't know. Alam naman natin na hindi naman necessarily si Senator Bongo pipiliin niya. Baka may iba pang kandidato ang piliin ni Vice President Sara Duterte. So makikita natin yan. Kung nag-announce si Vice President Sara Duterte takbong presidente, baka sabihin na rin niya kung sino yung VP niya pick niya for as her running mate.
Alright, aabangan ho natin yan, talagang maraming magiging developments po dun sa last 2 years. Maraming salamat ho sa inyong oras, Dr. Garcia.
Thank you, Attorney Danny. Salamat sa inyo lahat.